Okay, here's the third of three videos to help you build your homepage and menu and your landing page and doing all that good stuff. Okay, so how do I go about doing this, right? In WordPress, one of the things to get your head around too is there's multiple ways to do the same thing. Okay, so I've shown you the dashboard. I showed you this customized menu that basically allows you to change some things on your site. So you can do things here, but you can also do things in the dashboard itself. Okay, and so in my customize, I can work on my menu here. So that's a possibility. Or you can work on it in the dashboard. Okay. We'll work on it here. You may find this a little bit easier. So basically what you're going to want to do is I have a desktop horizontal menu, but you can choose different choices for this menu if you want. And when I create the menu, I can create it as a social menu. I can create the expanded menu. The mobile menu is the thing with the hamburger. I can put a menu at the bottom of the page. So I have a number of different menu items with this particular theme. Depending on your theme, you may only have one menu choice, or maybe you have two. It all depends on your theme, and that's why it's so important that you just start digging in and playing around with your theme and seeing what it does, okay? So here's this. I've got my main menu and I've set it up. So I look at all the different locations and I have created one menu at this point that's called main. Okay. And I'm going to edit this menu. And basically, so I have built out this menu. So I have my main menu, which goes to the home page of the website. I have an about page, which goes to the static page of about. Okay. And then all of the rest of these are categories. Because remember, we labeled our posts with a particular category. We created the categories of our posts. And you can create that. You can create the categories within the post itself. So I can add a new category here. So if I wanted one, I think we had talked about in the last video, I said maybe I want to do it by ingredients. So I could add vegetable, you know, and I could add, eggs. So there's no veggies in my omelet. So then I can update that. And now my post has two categories. So by having those categories, that allows me to add those to the menu so that all of the posts with that category will show up on that particular search. The way to think of you don't want these for your posts. What people struggle with when they're new to WordPress is they create a page called breakfast and they're like, why aren't any of my posts showing up? Well, because it's a page, it's not a search for the categories, which is really how you want to think about this. So basically what I'm going to do is in my menu, I'm going to add these items. Okay, so I'm going to add a category. Why don't I add a category of, oh, my vegetables didn't show up. So I will, because I probably need to refresh this menu. Let's just add electronics, even though that has nothing to do with anything. And that way you can see how it works. So you can add your posts. I mean, you can add your categories. Now you don't want to add your posts because that's like adding a page and it will just go to that particular post. And it's rare that you're going to add a post to your menu. The only time that people really do that is if they have a post that's extremely popular that everybody looks for on the site, then they may add that as a menu item. But in most cases, most sites do not make their posts an item on their menu. Okay. Now I'm going to show you one other quirk of WordPress menus. WordPress does not make it easy to do a top level item on your menu. Okay, notice how I've done this, that you can add things as subcategories or sub items in the menu. Okay, I just deleted the menu and I'm going to show you how you can build your own menu. Okay, so what I did was, as I go back, so I created a new menu, create, and I called it main. And then I chose it as a desktop horizontal menu. and don't hit delete menu because otherwise that will delete it. Um, and now what I'm going to do is add items to this menu. So, so here's what I'm going to add. So I'm going to add the home page because that's what I wanted, right? I have my about page on there. And then we were going to do the different categories, right? So we did breakfast, we did lunch, and we did dinner. Now we had this top level category called meals for the drop down, right? And what is that, right? Is that a page? Is that a custom link? Is that, what is that, right? So what I would suggest, because most people's behavior is to not click on the top level of your drop down item, I would create, I would duplicate the first item, okay, as breakfast so that you get a top level category. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to indent these. See how you can indent these to create a drop down? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another breakfast item so that I can add it to the menu. So what I'm doing, so I'm going to go to add breakfast. And then what you can do is you can actually rename the label. So I'm going to rename it menu. But if I happen to click on this by mistake, it'll take me to breakfast. So why am I doing that? Because most people, they're not trying to go to a complete menu. They're trying to go to that first item in the drop down. So if they make a mistake, I would have them go to the same thing because that is the behavior that most people are trying to do when they click on those. They typically don't click on the top level items. And again, how I made this the drop down is I indented these things, right? So if I take it out of the thing, these are all on the same level, but if I want it to be part of the drop down, I have to indent it. And be careful not to over indent it because then I just created a drop down within a drop down and you don't want to do that. So once you have that, you've got your menu and it should save and then you can publish it and then we can test it. So as I go back to my pages, now I got my home, which takes me to my home page. I still have this set the old way where it goes to the posts rather than that home page. I can reset that, but then I can go to the about page and then I can do my drop down. And so what I want to do is go see if I click on this by mistake, it'll take me to breakfast, right? Because most of the time I'm going to do the drop down and I'm going to choose one of the items in the drop down. Okay. So that's how menus work. So menus are fairly simple. The key is if you happen to go through the dashboard, I'll show you this. There's one little trick. So I can find menus here as well, and you can work with them the same way, okay? And it's the same sort of functionality. This actually has a little bit easier to use interface to me. Maybe I'm just used to it because I've done it a different way. But the thing is, when you create your menu here, be sure to save it because sometimes people forget to save the changes they've made to their menu. And then the other thing you can do is go to this, let's save the menu. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to manage locations. Okay. So I go to manage locations, and this is where you enable your menus. So basically what I have to do is if I've created a menu, I have to activate it and say, okay, use this menu, please, and put it in main and hit save changes. And then that way it should be up there and you should be getting the menu that you were wanting. I'm going to show you one last thing too. You can also add categories here, and this gives you different categories. Now, something you can do is to create a parent category. So if I wanted to create a category called meals and then have breakfast, lunch, and dinner as subcategories, you can do that. You just would designate what is my parent category, and then you would put those items under that if you wanted to. I'm not a big fan of using parent categories, but some people do, depending on how complicated the website is. Okay, so that's how you add categories, and just make sure that when you're organizing your content, you're drawing your sitemap, that you've thought through that. How do you make your content findable? Which is your dynamic content and which is your static content? Put the static content on pages, put your ever-changing or ever-updating content in posts and use categories to access those. Okay? Good luck.